When one looks at the global village that the world has become in this age of the unprecedented revolution in mass communication, instead of uniting the planet, one sees a constant struggle for space and recognition by various communities, tribes, ethnicities, clans, religions, and even the nations who inhabit this earth. In our own country, this phenomenon is exacerbated in the crucible-like society that is Trinidad and Tobago, with its 1.3 million souls, divided as we are by race, ethnicity, class, color, creed, and anything else you can think of. This struggle for space has resulted in a society that has more religious and ethnic public holidays per capita than any other part of the world. Some commentators have suggested that this proliferation of commemorative public holidays is perpetuating the tendency to divisiveness in the society. They advocate, instead, the abolition of all existing holidays and celebrations that divide our people. Things like Indian Arrival Day, Emancipation Day, Corpus Christi, Eid ul-Fitr, First People's Day of Recognition, etc., and so forth. And they suggest also its replacement with a single, all-embracing, all-inclusive national holiday in celebration of and with emphasis on unity instead of the multifarious schisms in our nation. As noble and nationalistic as this may sound, such a suggestion runs contrary to human nature. You cannot annihilate by the stroke of a political pen the very nature and historical antecedents of a people. Human beings, by their natural instincts, have a basic need to be recognized for what they are and for what they are accustomed to, and not for what the commentators think they ought to have been. Even the birds of a feather flock together, as do tribes and different categories of animals and communities and clans and clubs and secret lodges and friendly societies. Even the global preoccupation with nationalistic pride is an expression of this phenomenon. Man's gregarious nature conflicts with his desire to be part of the crowd and above it at the same time. You cannot smother his basic instincts and desires by abolishing them or wishing that they did not exist. We all wish for a peaceful and harmonious society in which all inhabitants can be happy regardless of race, color, creed, ethnicity, socioeconomic class, and so on. The answer for the establishment of peace, of a peaceful and progressive society that conduces to the happiness of all its citizens, is not to put them into a melting pot and deny them their identity, the beauty of their uniqueness and joy, and the respect of their respective communities, but instead to so organize the society that each group and each individual is treated equally with equal respect and equal dignity by the state and all within its borders. Our history is replete with examples of the denial, debasement, and demeaning of one group by and against another. Even our national watchwords insinuate this debasement. Production, discipline, and tolerance. Tolerance? Who must tolerate who? That word reeks of a superiority-minority complex. It would be much better if we were to replace it with appreciation and respect. It is on occasions such as these that I recollect the ignored life and struggle of the man that formed both the Oilfield Workers Trade Union and the All Trinidad Sugar Estates and Factories Workers Trade Union in 1937, a feat unparalleled in the history of the struggles of the working class of this country. Yet, he has been ignored by our historians, including those of the University of the West Indies. Well, almost. It was as if there was some kind of morbid fear among our academics and intellectuals that if they wrote about people like Rienzi, their academic careers would be adversely affected. I decided that I will not perpetuate this tendency. You see, my sisters and brothers, if you do not write your own history, it will be written for you by others. But in the end, it will become their history, not yours. It was with such a thought in mind that when I became President General of the All Trinidad Sugar Estates and Factories Workers Trade Unions in 1973, I decided to build the first fully owned union headquarters in Exchange Village, Couva, after some 40 years of the union's existence. It is then that I decided to name and dedicate it to Adrian Kola Rienzi, born Krishnadev Narayan. Rienzi has now gone to the great beyond, and my purpose in naming the union's headquarters after him cannot be, therefore, for his gratification. But it is a message to those who have served their motherland, Trinidad and Tobago, that they will not be ignored, even if they are no longer with us. Gone, but not forgotten, never forgotten. It is in this context that I congratulate the National Council for Indian Culture for its efforts in establishing and promoting this Hall of Pioneers, as indeed I do congratulate the Emancipation Support Committee and similar organizations on their efforts in a similar direction. Having said that, I want in a lighter vein to express a morbid fear of my own that I once harbored. Conscious of the fact that the flesh is weak and one does not know if and when and how one may succumb to temptation, when I left Parliament, I asked both my friends and foes alike not to name anything after me while I was alive. The fear being, of course, that it would be frightfully embarrassing to those who had done so if I were later to succumb to temptation and do something foolish after being so honored. But one day, while driving past a cemetery in San Fernando along the Rienzi Curtin Highway, they didn't even name the whole road after him, but I suppose half a road is better than none. Anyway, my eyes fell on a signboard which read, Rudal Cemetery. Rudal Cemetery. No, not that one. And later, while engaged in the sugar workers' struggle, I was traveling along the Waterloo Road in Karapichaima when someone pointed out to me the location of the Isaac Ramsaran Cemetery, Isaac Yankaran Cemetery. So there we had the Rudolph Cemetery and the Isaac Yankaran Cemetery. As some of you know, Timothy Rudolph was a successful businessman, a member of the then Legislative Council, and the mayor of the San Fernando Borough Council, while Isaac Ramcharan was a famous local singer who filled our hearts with many soulful Indian classical songs. Well, you see, when I saw those two signs, and having regard to the deepening of the divisive trend that is taking place in the country today, I was afraid that someone may name a cemetery after me while I was alive. Today, we honor Ramdeo Rambalak, Rafiq Jumadin, Devraj Sunarayan, Chandra Chunilal, who are with us today, having made their lasting impressions upon our psyche, for which we are so grateful. And for all those who are no longer with us, Pandit Hariprasad, Hanif Mohammed, Samson Radi, Arya Man Singh, Madam Ramdulari Miraj, and Shamsuddin Mohammed, men and women who have etched their faces, their lives, and their personalities upon our grateful memories. You are gone, but not forgotten, never forgotten. You have heard of the achievements of those being so honored. To add to what has already been said about them would be an attempt to gild the lily. So once more, I wish to thank the National Council of Indian Culture on behalf of all the inductees here this afternoon,